Has anyone given a tech talk before? Oh, impressive. Lots of people. Awesome. For those of you who haven't, you might be thinking, or even those of you who have, you might be thinking, why bother? Takes a lot of time and effort. One of the main reasons is to share knowledge. So it's really good being able to get up here and share what you know about something, all of that effort that it took to learn it. It's good to pass it on. Maybe a more selfish reason is to practice public speaking. It's a really good skill to get used to. So giving lots of talks lets you really hone in that skill. And it's good on the CV. So on your CV, you can just put all the talks that you've given, show off, look, I know this, I know that, and I know how to communicate that really well. It also can force you to learn something new. So a lot of times I've signed up to give a talk on something that I have no idea about. And that forces me to go and research it and build the slides, think about what I'm going to talk about, and basically learn a brand new skill with a deadline there. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can also practice your live coding skills. I was at Melbourne maybe a few months back, and all the other speakers pulled out. So I was the only one and I had to fill in time. So I did some live coding. And I think it actually did help me on my interview because I had practiced coding live and explaining what I was doing. And that's a really useful skill to have, but not for the faint-hearted. And also, if you get really good, you can go to conferences and you can travel for free. So they'll pay for your flights, maybe they'll give you an allowance, they'll book you a hotel, and you could go to another country if you get really good. So how do you start? First of all, you have to know your audience. Who are you actually speaking to at these meetups or conferences? You have to know how much experience they have in what you're talking about. If they already know a lot about it, maybe you should go into some more advanced topics. Whereas if you think they might be new to something, you can do the beginner stuff. And you also have to pick content that they're interested in. So I did a CSS talk at PHP Melbourne because they're doing PHP development, they also touch CSS. So I thought it was something interesting that they would be interested in because they're doing CSS a bit as well in their work, even though it's a PHP meetup. Also Melb JavaScript. I've also run Melb CSS, so obviously a CSS talk would fit in really well there, but know what they might be interested in as well. But also follow what you're interested in. So if you're not interested in something, don't give a talk on it because you're not going to finish it. You want to have that interest there to motivate you to finish the slides and what you're going to talk about. Tying into that, you want to pick a topic. So one easy topic to get started with is new technology. So new technology is really easy because you're the expert. Most people haven't looked into new technology. There's so much coming out, especially in web browsers. There's a lot of new features hitting web browsers because Chrome's really pushing all sorts of things. And you could become an expert on that one thing. So you might be speaking to a ton of people who already have jobs, they already have experience, but not in this thing that you've learned. So you can be the expert during your talk. That's why it's sort of the easiest thing to get into if you want to get public speaking. Second thing, something you learned or something you made. So this requires a bit more effort. You have to actually go and make the thing, or you have to, I guess, learned would tie into learning something new. But it takes more effort. You want to build something that you can show off during your talk. And the most difficult thing, 3 stars difficulty right there, is putting your own spin on something that most of the people already know. So if a lot of your audience already know something, you're going to have to do really well at presenting it, and you're going to have to have a very interesting talk. One thing could be giving a talk on giving a talk. So this is like the creme de la creme, if I pronounce that correctly. You want to ace the title. So you want a short title that people can quickly understand and grab people's attention. But you also want a bit of mystery. You don't want to give it all away. You want people to be interested in what's that actually about, what's it actually going to cover. You want to introduce a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out. You want to make sure that if someone doesn't come to your talk, they'll be very sad. That way you get lots of people to come. These are some of the titles that I came up with over maybe 2-3 years. I've given quite a few talks on CSS, and that's some of the titles. So it sort of explains a little bit about what it's going to cover, but not exactly. So why you suck at CSS, the yellow one there, it's sort of, yes, it's why you suck at CSS. It covered the main issues that most people face using the technology. But the title, it doesn't really tell you what the talk's about. You're really keen to find out, why do I suck at CSS? Next thing, sign up now. So maybe not during my talk, but maybe straight after, please sign up. We've got the GDG link. Sign up to give a talk here. And that'll lock it in. Because if you start making a talk and plan to sign up, you won't finish the talk. Willpower is very hard these days, especially with all the distractions. So sign up to give it before you start making it. So when you start making it, you want tiny, fun slides. You want to fill them with lots of memes. And I'll pause so you can read some of these. So you want lots of interesting memes to keep people engaged. You don't want your text to be too small. Can anyone at the back read that? Impressive, but you're not at the back. You don't want to fill it with code. This is too much. Way, way, way too much. You want a tiny, tiny demo. And you want to use dark mode. So I haven't blinded you all tonight with light theme. And as we all know, it attracts bugs. You don't want to put stuff in the corner, because I've seen some meetups, they'll have some sort of Zoom or Google Meet thing in the corner that goes on top of your slide. So make sure all the important stuff is in the center. But still use the edges. And you want to go unscripted. So I've gone unscripted with this talk. I'm actually not reading any notes right now. I'm just watching the slides with you. That means I forget some things, but it means I don't sound like a robot. If I were reading notes or reading word for word what I'd written previously, I would sound like a robot. Some other people, they do a really good job with notes, but that's my personal preference. And only live code where necessary. Like I said, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's very difficult, but it's a good skill to develop. Kill your intro. You'll notice I didn't introduce myself. That's because most people don't care. Tell them at the end. People come here because they want to hear the meat of your talk. They don't care, where you work or who you are until after, when they've listened to your talk and have enjoyed it. And a lot of people can really go on and on and on about themselves. Start with a hook. So instead of introducing yourself, start with a question. So I started this one with a question. Could start with a fun fact, something interesting that you discovered that ties into the topic. Start it with something very interesting that gets people hooked. And mindset during the talk. Remember that everyone's rooting for you. I'm sure that no one in this room wants me to fail miserably. I think that all of you want a talk that's enjoyable. And so I know that you all want this talk to go well. And that, when you're giving a talk, will hopefully lead to it being less stressful. Just remember, nobody wants you to screw up. They're not waiting for you to fail. And if you stuff up, you can quickly get back up and keep going. And slow down. This is a good reminder for me as well. Slow down. Don't rush through everything, especially since we've got to fill in time. We're down a speaker, so just chill out. And the delivery is very important. You can spend all of this time making your slides, coming up with ideas, all the research, but if your delivery stuffs up, it was all for nothing. Actively avoid filler words. Sorry. So actively avoid the filler words, yeah. They're very annoying. Don't mumble. And don't ramble on. I could keep talking and rambling about all sorts of things and, Yeah, rambling is just really annoying, and are you getting really bored of my rambling? And leave pause. For dramatic effect. And remember, you have hands. I've been using my hands throughout this talk. Move them around, do things with your hands. Don't just put them in your pockets and stay still. And if you've got a clicker, I haven't got a clicker, lets you run away from the microphone. Maybe I could carry one portable, but it lets you run away from your laptop, flick through your slides, and not just stay tethered to the podium like I am right now. But it requires an investment. And practice. Give your talk to a duck. We've got a few of these little rubber duckies at Prezzee where I work, and practice your talk on an inanimate object. That's a good way to practice. Then give your talk to your family. And a really good tip that I saw on YouTube is record your talk and then listen back to it. Listen to just the audio without the video and just analyze how you do it speaking in general. Don't think about your hand gestures. Don't think about all the filler words and ums and ahs and everything. Just listen to how you present it and how your voice varies. Then watch the muted video. See how you do with hand gestures and everything. And then look through the transcription and count how many ums and ahs you do. I bet I've done a few in this talk even. And make use of the medium. When you're giving a talk, generally people are here with you, unlike video. So make use of that. Make eye contact with people. I need to improve on that as well. But make use of the medium. Don't just do something that you could do in a video, that you could do in a podcast, that could be a blog article. Use what you've got available to make it interesting. So there are the 12 commandments of an engaging tech talk. Please pull out your phones and take an image, because I'm going to change this slide. This is not one of the dramatic effect pauses, by the way. Going, gone. I've got some links there. One of them is to sign up to give a talk here, so definitely, please scan it. One of them is my LinkedIn, please connect. And another one is, I think, a video on how to speak. I don't know how you speak. How do you say words? So very useful video, and I think I had one other link there, so definitely get on those links. Any questions? Anyone keen on giving a talk and have any food for thought?
I missed the part there, but yeah, I mentored Zach, so I'm going to go, and he's learned so well.
Thank you, Katie. I'm available to mentor as well as Katie, and we've got plenty of other organisers that would be very keen to help you. It's hard to find speakers, so yeah, please sign up.
I have a question. How do you actually reach out to talk, really?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you want to reach out and come up with a talk, you don't have to come up with everything yourself. We can help you. Like Katie said, we do speaker mentoring. So we'll do a practice run with you, show you the ropes, and basically go through what I've gone through in this talk. And you don't really have to fill any requirements to speak here. It's fairly easy. If you want to speak at other meetups, they do similar things. So that's what the other link was. It's a calendar of all the tech meetups in Melbourne. Pretty cool. They've got conferences and other meetups and all sorts on there. There's like almost every day there's a tech event going on, which is quite amazing just for Melbourne. So look through those sort of things and see if any of those meetups you want to give a talk.
You want to speak at JDG, just come and speak to one of the organisers, myself, Zach, Lovey, Paz, Organiser, or hash speakers on our Slack group. Just reach out there. There you will also reach other people in Australia and New Zealand who have meetups, so if you feel like travelling, that's where you can
Get a free flight to New Zealand.
potentially. You can try. But yes, they're always looking for speakers as well.
But sign up to GDG first.
I wanted to ask, what advice would you give to introverted people who want to give a talk?
Yes, advice I'd give to introverted people. I suppose, yeah, do a lot of practice. Go outside and go out of your comfort zone and talk to people. Build up that experience of speaking. Public speaking is different to speaking with people sort of generally at a networking event. So I'd suggest maybe go up from speaking to 1 or 2 people at a networking event and just sign up to things, move around, start introducing yourself to larger groups of people when they're all huddled at meetups and build your way up. And then eventually it's just the same as getting up on stage because you've already spoken to so many people at once.
And start with shorter talks and cut out things that you feel like are going to be tricky. So, you don't have to take questions at the end if that's freaking you out.
Yeah, questions
Make
are
it easy
optional.
for yourself.
Yeah.
And
And
you've already spoken to lots of people at the meetup. It feels like you're talking to people you already know. So, like, you know half the people here already. So
Yes.
it's like talking to friends.
And also, good point on the smaller talks. So at GDG, we've got lightning talks, which this one was a lightning, but I've extended it a bit. Lightning's generally 15 minutes, inclusive of questions, if you want to do questions. And then we have a full-length 30-minute slot as well for a full-length talk, or it could be 40 minutes. So yeah, you can do a smaller talk to start with.